for the US Armed Forces, and is the relationship between Celex and Supply Corps Rio. It's a real pleasure to introduce this award because one of the presenters and one of the leaders is one of our alumni from the Leading Procurement Strategy program at Cranfield. So it's great to see Des Bamford here again presenting what they've done in procurement in Celex. And with him is Alex Cummings and Amy Blinkhorn. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Over to you. Thank you very much.
So hi everyone. The last award, and you get two for the price of one, I guess. I'm going to take you through a little bit about why we think we won the Cips award. We don't really know that. The judges maybe tell us. How we went about it. Why it was important to us as an organisation. Possibly the most important thing about the whole thing. And introduce Amy and Alex to you, who actually did all the hard work and might just set a few wheels in motion. We'll run through the case study that we used for the submission and its elements. It was an existing piece of work, and that's something the guys will touch on. Our approach to supplier relationship management at Celex, which is a very brief overview, and our approach to the application. And well, you know the results, so we'll go to it anyway. I'd like to start with a flavour of what a Celex ES is, whilst asking a question about why it's important for us to build strong supplier relationships. And I'd keep it very much in the business context, so it's very important for us to maintain our market-leading position. We're number one in airborne infrared countermeasures, we're number one in airborne laser designators, number one in airborne radar outside the US. And you can probably appreciate just from the slide and the very little amount you've learned so far that it's a high technology, high quality product domain, and with a complex supply chain, and people get that, you know, it's kind of intuitive. But coming back to those business drivers, increased competitiveness that solutions offer us and relationships offer us, and the lower risks that brings us, means that you can see that actually the relationships involved in these complex products are one of the biggest contributors to our success. And with that, I'll hand over to Alex for the next bit.
Thank you very much, Des. So I'll just give a sort of a brief overview of the case study. To start off with, the customer that is in question is Lockheed Martin. So we've done very well out of between us and BAE Systems from procurement. And the sort of the one that we were focusing this case study on is called the Apache helicopter, which you see sort of in the bottom right. It's got a sort of a laser ranging and sort of imaging system for which we provided the laser into Lockheed and then built it into the higher subsystem. We've got a long relationship with Lockheed. It started prior to the sort of JSF kick-off, so I think we're talking at least 15 years. And this was sort of the first program that we were going to look at had a very, very steep ramp rate. Most military programs have quite a long lead in with quite a sort of a low build-up. So again, just because of the type of things we're working with, it's cutting-edge technology, and as such, sort of the performance and reliability of the components that we bring in is vital, and that means that we have to have very good relationships with the suppliers that we're using to sort of get the components for these parts. So the prototype for this was in 2009, at which we were able to, on successful completion, sort of be awarded an initial contract with a very high ramp rate in 2012. And because of our background in this, we've got a dedicated optical component team which is sort of forms part of an IPT. Okay, so to explain, the supplier that we selected for a very difficult sub-assembly was called Research Electro-Optics. They're based in Colorado in America. We've had a very long relationship with them as well, and we've normally gone to them for our most complicated and most difficult optics to manufacture. They have typically been a premium company, and The example that you've got on there isn't actually the assembly in question, but it's one we shared to give you an idea of the sort of things that we're building. What I'd like to say on this slide is, previously on certain components that we've been working on, they had a very, very good sort of delivery profile, very good quality. This was a step up in level for them, so we're building assemblies which they hadn't really done before. During the prototype phase, they were able to produce parts that met our requirements, but again, that was in a sort of a very low delivery environment. When we started this program with the very aggressive ramp rate, they weren't able to deliver the parts that you needed on time, and they weren't to the spec that we required. And there's several things you'll see on the slide there that sort of flash up in red lights when you're sort of seeing the relationship is getting quite strained. Perceptions internally of the supplier were diminishing rapidly, and we needed to do something to fix it. Fortunately, we had a good relationship with the CEO at REO, and despite the sort of the danger zone that we were entering here, there's something we're able to do about it. So the first thing I would like to say on the solution is we've got up there it's a red team being established, but kind of I like this. It was on the cover of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Most important thing: don't panic. And what I'd take from this is quite often you can have seen if there's sort of an internal perception of things going wrong, people want to do something very quick and knee-jerk to fix it. And we don't want to do that with this. So we established all the stakeholders that we could provide input to this problem and thoroughly sort of analyse what went wrong, and then come up with a series of suggestions that we could then sort of feed into the supplier to fix it. And several examples that we've got up there is we wanted to sort of increase their ability in assembly training. Obviously this is something that we've previously done in-house on other programs. We wanted to sort of implement a fracas system, and we also wanted to sort of get their buy-in to a supplier development model called SE21, which is quite prevalent in the defence industry. Again, for this solution to work, one of the most important requirement that you need from this is you need buy-in from the supplier to be able to help them. And with REO, we're able to they did provide an open door to us, and this could be, in sort of the words of their CEO, very painful because you're sort of exposing all your flaws to a customer. And quite often, if you're going for a one-day visit, you can hide a lot of the flaws that they couldn't do because we were on there for months at a time, and we sort of learned to live with them. We learned to live with their sort of faults, or to be able to sort of agree with them ways to fix it. And I should point out this wasn't a one-way street. We did sort of learn through this that a lot of the way that we were specifying our design was causing a lot of the problems. So with a lot of constructive feedback from both sides, we're able to sort of come up with a solution. I would also say that we're able to get our customer involved, who also sort of have a relationship with buying from REO on different parts. And one sort of helped with stakeholder management, so they understood sort of what issues we were facing, and we'll be able to become sort of part of the solution for fixing it. What we've got here is an example of where they went in terms of quality from the beginning of the process to the end of the process. I should point out that this sort of period spanned around about 6 months. We've got the key sort of parameter that we put up here is beam deviation, which is quite important for a laser. And this is a green line was our sort of our spec that we would put on our drawings. The red line was the sort of absolute worst case scenario that we could accept and still get the laser to work. And as you can see, to start off with, they were way off in terms of their deliveries. And through a series of iterative changes, which was both understanding our spec better, getting a lot of, REO invested a lot of money in capital equipment in order to sort of improve their process, but also learning how to use that equipment effectively, we're able to get, in a very sort of short space of time for defence contracts, into a good situation. This is going to some of the metrics that we sort of measure on our suppliers. The two main ones that we'd like to focus on is parts accepted against parts rejected, and sort of your on-time delivery to your contract. So the two graphs I'm showing, the first one is sort of the defect rate. It's going to be returns in parts per million. So you can see back at the end of 2012, we've got 1.2 or nearly 1.2 returns per delivery, which is obviously not going to be a good case. So they're getting it's returned more than once. And to the point where we were getting into full rate production, we got to a negligible figure to where they were previously. And correspondingly, you can see on this, our on-time delivery performance, again, around about the same time towards the end of 2012, was negligible or next to nothing. And during the same time period, they were able to start hitting their contract dates much more consistently as their defect rate improved. Sorry. So just to sort of highlight some of the benefits that we have had from this case study. They did a 146-step action plan, which was one of the most detailed I've ever seen, covering all aspects of their business that resulted in sort of a full overhaul of their performance. And again, some sort of numbers that we've got up here. The defect rate was reduced to less than 3% of its peak value in the examples that you've seen, and has sort of since reduced further. Our overall concession rate from that company has dropped by 85%. And concession costs are not just the fact that you'll have return parts, it's also the cost of processing them, and because of the audit requirements in defence, it can be a very laborious processes, so it's not inconsiderable. In addition to getting to get this delivered on time and to a much better quality, we're also reducing the cost because of the sort of processing improvements that they developed, applied not just to that part, but also to all the other parts that they were supplying to us. And sort of the net result, instead of just going on in terms of cost savings, was when this was the pacing item on the programme, there was a danger that we weren't going to fulfil our customer contract. With this fix, we then got a follow-on sort of order from our customer to the tune of 70 million. And what we'd sort of like to take away from this is that whilst incurring issues can be embarrassing and painful for a supplier, with the right attitude and the right relationship, any problem can be overcome. And I'm going to sort of end my section with words from the president of REO.
Hi, my name is Paul Kelly, and I'm president of Research Electro-Optics. Des, thank you very much for making me part of your presentation. I'm here to talk about the meaning of the Cips award that we received on September 11th. It was a real honor. We were humbled as well as very excited to be recognized for the work that we have done with Celex over a period of about 9 months. Probably the most important part of that work that we did with Celex is the confidence that we had in Celex to really come in, be a partner with us, to assist us in the process of making us better. Their involvement and the fact that they sent people that lived with us for 16 weeks really accelerated the progress in our continuous improvement process that benefited us and Celex. Our entire organization has really had a shot of energy as a result of the recognition that we received. We realize that this is not the end of the journey, but what it is a milepost along the road that tells us that in fact we are headed in the right direction. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thanks, Paul. I'm just going to talk about supplier relationship management in general at Celex and how we do that. So I'm sure you're all aware of IPTs, but if you're not, I'll just explain. So at Celex we work in integrated product teams. So these are product delivery teams which consist of representatives from engineering, project management, finance, procurement, and we all work together to deliver a product. This is really good for suppliers because they get a seat at the table, and the supplier relationship with engineers is a lot more fluid, and it allows technical communication to happen more freely. A high percentage of communication that occurs between us and our customers is technical. Once we set up the contract and we're managing the contract, a lot of the problems which arise are technical difficult due to the high complexity of the product. So it's really useful for us to have good communication with our suppliers. And a part of that is regular business reviews. So depending on the relationship type we have with the supplier, we have monthly, yearly, quarterly business reviews. And part of that is a scorecard process where us and the supplier rate the relationship against quality, on-time delivery, technical ability, communication. And it really teases out all those difficult conversations that you want to have, but you can't manage to in a normal situation. So it's really useful, and it encourages a very fluid communication. So we also encourage supplier investment by sharing our business plans. So the suppliers can see our forecasts of what we're going to be spending over the next 5-10 years, and this gives them confidence in investing themselves, which is really useful. I've already talked about technology and how great it is with suppliers, so I'll just move on. So at the beginning of 2013, the end of 2012, Des came into the business and set up this changing skill set, mindset and approach group. And I was part of that team, and we were to look at changing our business from more transactional to added value. And this really goes back to what Kath and Fabian were saying at the beginning, if you can remember that far back, about being masters of business and not just focusing on your area of business, and being more entrepreneurial. And what we wanted to do is kind of be less process police and be more involved in the strategy and discussing business options with our IPT. So rather than just being someone you come to if the supplier's gone wrong, it's more coming to you with problems about being involved with the problems to begin with, or and all that. So that's what we've been trying to do. And as part of that group, we looked at opportunities to benchmark ourselves against the industry and against other industries. And we came to quickly realise that benchmarking is a very time-consuming and expensive process. So we'd heard about Cips because a lot of us are doing Cips exams and things like that. And we heard about the Cips Awards. So Alex and I last year came to this conference to benchmark ourselves against the previous winners. We'd never gone for an award before. So we were just there to kind of look through, think, can we get some ideas about what we can do? So we came back to Des and told him that we all the great ideas that were on the table, but we just thought, well, the only way that we're going to find out whether or not we're best in class is just to apply. So around that time, Alex and the Lasers team were putting together a supplier conference, and Paul from REO was speaking about those things that we've just discussed. And we approached him and said, would you mind if we use you in a case study for Cips? And he said, absolutely, because he's a nice guy. So Alex and I spent a few nights writing the application and submitted it. And then when the shortlist came out, I went to my desk in the morning and it was refreshing. And it came up, and I jumped out of my desk. I was, ah! And all the engineers turned around, and engineers never turn around. And have you won the lottery? I was like, I've been shortlisted for the award. So we really didn't expect to win at all. Being at the award ceremony was just the icing on the cake, really. So we had no expectations whatsoever of winning our category, let alone the overall award. And actually after hearing everyone speak, I was getting more and more nervous because I was thinking, well, are we really like the best of the best? There's a lot of competition, so thanks for everybody for making me so nervous. So yeah, the only advice I could give is just apply and find out, because you never know. And that's us. Guys, so I'm not sure about the chance for our application, but we think that probably the reason why we've won is because it was an example from a real program. We hadn't manufactured the award. It was, oh, this is a good example, and that was really important to us because we wanted to show the business and ourselves that things that we do every day are award-worthy. So yeah, and also it was a step change for the business, not just for the supplier. So it provided a real business result. And as you can see from all the graphs, we've got a tangible evidence which displays the benefits to the business. And we couldn't really have done it without Paul being so open and us both being very honest with each other, and working from Paul's suppliers and working with our customers, a really good example for the judges. So I just leave Des to wrap up.
Just a very quick sum up. So why was it important for us? It was a huge boost for the confidence of my team, who I put under a bit of strain and pressure to start to change their mindset, and we're on a journey with that. We're by no means there yet. We were able to celebrate the strength of our supplier relationship. Sometimes it's easy to focus on the technical risks and the issues and not celebrate the strengths. It was a good idea to do that. And I think we're now better able to influence at the top table. And we're no longer the Cinderella function. We can actually chat about the business issues with the business.